Someone stole 3 chickens last night. I bet it was those damn thieving Yukols again.
I'd really suggest
we
you
can't
steer
always
well
accuse
clear
the
of Captain
foxes.
Obo, miss.
You should go
He's
see about
always
complaining to the
basically
mayor
drunk
with
as
all
a
the
skunk.
others.
I can't understand why those damn savages are stuck here. It's not like anybody's making them stay, the damn pipsqueaks. They should jump right into the water, with their damn ostriches. Then they can wash behind their damn ears for once.
There's something making them stay connected to their religion. They believe in a whole pile of nonsense.
Oh yeah? I heard that someone up top decided to order them to stay here. From Central Administration. And Mayor Bulyakin can't do a thing. His hands are tied.
So what? So we have to have the nomads in our homes?
That's what I heard. But I know that the mayor would also love to see the Yukols cross the lake and burn themselves in Baranor.
It's been hard to sell our produce since the port closed. And now those nomads show up and undercut us.
There's something about those nomads at our doors they're not telling us.
The mayor's got to do something about these nomads. This just can't go on.
That shape there in the water, what is it?
The lake is haunted by a demon. It's watching me. Waiting. I can feel it.
The crystal took across more travelers ever than any other ferry from Valsembor.
All those youngsters trying to act smart to impress the Steiner girl. It really gets to me. If only I was still 20 years younger.
I'd really suggest you steer well clear of Captain Obo, miss. He's always basically drunk as a skunk.
I'm not standing here because I'm happy, you know, miss.
That's the nice man who helped me leave the Yukol camp. I should go thank him.
Ah, miss, delighted to see that you finally managed to leave the Yukol camp.
Yes, thank you very much for the pass.
Well, now that you're at last here, you'll be able to taste my famous borscht.
It would be my pleasure, but I do have to find Steiner the clockmaker right away.
Simon Steiner? Ah, in that case, you should speak with Sarah, our young waitress. She's his granddaughter.
How are things in town? They don't seem to be going that well.
If you ask me, the atmosphere is horrible. At least half the people don't want the Yukols right at our door. Most of the shopkeepers even made the decision to go on strike over what they saw as unfair competition. Also, Valsembor hasn't been the same in the last 20 years. There it is.
Is Simon Steiner well known here in Valsembor?
For a long time, he was rather popular. You know, he isn't just a clockmaker. He knows everything about mechanical objects. He repaired everything for everybody here in Valsembor. He also designed the amusement park on the other side of the lake with a colleague of his. A French automaton creator, if I remember. You could say Valsembor owes a lot to Simon Steiner, miss. So when he got sick, I offered to hire Sarah to help a little. You understand?
I met that man recently. A certain Captain Obo. He doesn't seem very with it.
And he's been that way for 20 years, miss. 20 years. Can you imagine? He used to command the Crystal, the boat that made the crossing between here and the amusement park, on the other side of the lake. And he wasn't the same man then.
I'm off. Thank you again for your help.
See you soon, miss. Captain Obo's got it real bad today. Poor old bastard.
Excuse me, please, miss.
Yes?
I'm looking for Simon Steiners.
Simon Steiner is my grandfather. My name is Sarah. Sarah Steiner.
Pleased to meet you, Sarah. I'm Kate Walker. Can you tell me where I can find your grandfather's workshop?
Of course. You'll find his shop is at the end of the alleyway, on the left, just as you leave it, in the main avenue. Can I ask what you want with him? Because he's rather old, you know.
I'm accompanying the Yukol caravan. Apparently your grandfather is supposed to be making a mechanical prosthesis for Kirk, their spiritual chief, who had a bad accident recently. Without the artificial leg, Kirk won't be able to go along with the great migration of his people. And on top of that, the Yukols won't leave without their guide.
You're accompanying the Yukols? My God, you're so terribly lucky. When I was little, Grandfather used to tell me all about their adventures, full of mystery and magic.
You seem to like the Yukols, Sarah. I get the impression that's rare in Valsembor.
It's true that when it comes to the Yukols, people around here can be a bit silly. They go out of their way to make the nomads scapegoats for all of the town's problems since they got stuck here.
But you don't, do you?
Of course not. Grandfather told me that he has actually seen 3 or 4 of the great ostrich migrations in his lifetime, and he always really respected those strange people. He even made sure I would admire them too, you know.
Do you like life in Valsembor?
Oh, there's really not that much to talk about here, you know. I spend all my time here or with Grandfather since he got sick.
There was no one who could keep an eye on him for you?
We can't afford it, I'm afraid. I also think I prefer it this way. My grandfather is my only family.
I guess you're pretty close to your grandfather?
Yes. Of course he can get a bit grumpy, especially the last few years. But he's actually really adorable, and you should see the work he does. Give him a few cogs and springs, and he'll give you some unbelievably incredible invention. He almost makes mechanical objects seem alive.
I see exactly what you mean. I used to know someone like that too.
The only problem we have is that business collapsed when he got sick. I really do believe that if I didn't have the waitressing jobs to make ends meet, we'd probably have to close up shop.
Thank you for your help.
I'll be stopping in to see Grandfather on my next break. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, I hope so. Goodbye, Sarah.
I hope Grandfather remembered to take his medication this morning. He hates it when people treat him like he's sick.
Lost your way, pretty girl?
Steiner! Hello. Are you Mr. Steiner? I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Steiner. My name is Kate Walker, and I've come to pick up the prosthesis for Kirk, the Yukols spiritual guide.
And well, dear Miss Walker, Dr. Efimova has informed me that the young man was not yet in any sort of condition to withstand the operation, and that...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
It is impossible. That pendant you have around your neck. I would be very obliged if you would entrust me with it for a moment. Please, Miss Walker. Mein Gott! An XZ-2000 automaton heart in perfect working condition. A compensating spring memory. Pendulum ventricles and small mechanical pumps. Everything seems in excellent condition. Donnerwetter! Where on earth did you steal this, Miss Walker?
What? Are you calling me a thief, Mr. Steiner? I haven't stolen anything from anyone. This is all I have left of my friend Oscar. Give it back to me right now.
Ah, so. And yet I am actually very familiar with this type of precision mechanism. An infernal precision. Incredible, unique expertise. For this was a Vorarlberg automaton, Miss Walker.
Yes. It was Hans Vorarlberg who designed this object. Tell me, did you know him?
Oh, yeah. He even lived here a few years. We did a lot of work together. He taught me so many different things, you know. So it is useless to try and make up silly stories, Miss Walker. And I am afraid that I am not about to allow you to leave here as long as you have not told me the truth about where this object comes from.
Oh, don't bother locking me in, Mr. Steiner. If you must know, the truth is that Hans Vorarlberg was someone who was very important to me. I accompanied him on a very strange journey throughout Europe. And that object in your hand is the only souvenir I have of that adventure.
That proves nothing, Himmelherrgott! Hans would never have given this to...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
My heart... need... my medication! Quickly!
Just don't move. I'll go and get your medication right away. No medication in sight.
So, you would... abandon me to my fate?
A prototype for the clinic aviary?
Make yourself right at home. Don't mind me. I just own the place. My heart. I need my medication. Quickly.
Who would store medication in this mess? Kirk's prosthesis. But it looks like it isn't finished. A woman's writing saying, "Grandfather, don't forget to take your medication 3 hours before dinner." A woman's writing saying, "Grandfather, don't forget to take your medication 3 hours before dinner." Judging by the smell, I'd say this cup was recently used for tea.
Thank you for your precious help, my dearest Miss Walker. I'm afraid I may have judged you somewhat hastily.
Don't mention it, Mr. Steiner. Tell me about the prosthesis. I need to take it back to Kirk very quickly, if, of course, you agree to let me have it.
Yeah. I just have a few small adjustments to make. It involves very precise and meticulous mechanics, understand?
Will it take long? I'm sorry to insist, but I also have to give a hand to those unfortunate Yukols. I need to help them get across the lake with their herd of ostriches. I'm so worried about them.
Once the mechanical leg is at last ready, I can go to the clinic and bring back young Kirk to you. That way you only have to worry about what happens to the other Yukols.
You'd do that, Mr. Steiner? That would really be a great help.
So, perfect. But dear Miss Walker, are you aware of what lies in store for the nomads when they reach the other side of the lake?
You want to talk about everything that happened in Baranor 20 years ago.
How on earth did you hear about the story, miss? The authorities have always done everything that was in their power to keep this terrible business absolutely quiet.
I read the ship's log that Captain Obo wrote at the time. Tell me exactly what happened there, Mr. Steiner.
It has become a true hell on earth since the time of the last great ostrich migration. Please join me downstairs for a moment, Miss Walker. I'll show you exactly what I mean.
An old press clipping.
Look just next to the films there, Miss Walker. You should find a film on Baranor.
The film's missing. Baranor.
Baranor, the cursed city. Baranor, the martyred town. Baranor has been nothing but a field of ruins and desolation since a week after the explosion of reactor number 3 in the nuclear power plant. Valsembor is on the other side of the lake, sheltered from the prevailing winds, and fortunately it seems to have been spared from the deadly radioactive clouds. our town was mobilized to go to the aid of our neighbors. Although our town's means were modest when compared to such a catastrophe, there were nonetheless among us some brilliant mechanical engineers. In record time, they developed a small army of automatons capable of helping the affected people. Those men and dogs of steel could go where a human could no longer set foot without becoming seriously ill. Over there, they could be excavators, rescue workers, and treasure bearers.
Oscar! They all look like him.
Truly magnificent pieces, Nishtvar. The XZ2000 model is most assuredly one of Hans's major masterpieces.
Their mission was to bring back any survivors of the catastrophe to Valsembor, where the victims would receive the best care in Dr. Zemyatine's clinic. The Crystal, the ferry usually responsible for linking the towns of Valsembor and Baranor every day, carried the new type of rescuers to the scene of the drama, and brought back the survivors of the catastrophe.
So Baranor suffered the ravages of a nuclear accident. But according to that film, the automatons you designed with Hans should have helped save lots of lives, right?
I'm afraid that's not how things went. Because of Captain Obo, who... Ah, that must be Sarah. Please come this way, Miss Walker. I'll introduce you. Miss Walker, may I introduce you to Sarah, my granddaughter?
We've actually already met. Haven't we, Sarah?
I actually owe Miss Walker a candle. Thanks to her calmness and peace of mind, I'm still here and on my feet. She found my medication and gave it to me before it was too late. Donnerwetter.
You don't mean you had another attack, do you? Ah, you're being so very naughty, Grandfather. You absolutely must let Dr. Zemyatine examine you.
Come on, stay calm, my little child. When I go to the clinic to take the prosthesis to the young Yukol, I'll stop by and see the good doctor. Until then, why don't you make yourself really useful to Miss Walker? She's looking for some way to transport the Yukol caravan to the other side of the lake.
Well, I think I've already found the solution. The boat in the film, the Crystal, it must be the ship that's docked in the port. If it was able to transport the automatons you and Hans built, it could carry the ostriches across the lake.
Ah, that's not a bad idea. But unfortunately, there's a slight problem of size, dear Miss Walker.
Sounds like you're talking about Captain Obo's alcoholism. I saw him earlier on the dock.
That coward has been hiding himself in alcohol ever since he abandoned our automatons to Baranor. And he'd rather simply die than go back. He tells everybody that the evil monster of the lake is waiting for him, and that as soon as he goes back on the water, the beast will just up and grab him. Ha 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 ha. But of course, that is the purest fantasy.
Grandfather, I know you're still really angry with Captain Obo because he abandoned the automatons that you built with your friend Hans and Baranor. He was supposed to wait for them. They were going to take all the survivors they found in the rubble to the boat and then bring everyone here to safety in Valsembor. But in the end, when he got to the beach at Baranor and saw the disaster and all the dead, he became really afraid. The disease, the radiation. He must have had an uncontrollable panic attack, so he immediately turned back, dumped the machines on the Crystal into the lake, and came back empty-handed to Valsembor. And the automatons have been there ever since, in hell. But who knows? Maybe today he'll want to sell. I'm sure Kate will be capable of convincing him to help the Yukols. I have to go do my waitressing shift in the tavern. Come by and see me later on, okay? Captain Obo will be there.
All right, then. I'll try and convince Captain Obo. Thank you for everything, Mr. Steiner.
I don't know if I really should wish you good luck, dear Miss Walker. Baranor is only an open grave now. Donnerwetter, Miss Walker. I need quiet and concentration if I'm going to complete this prosthesis.
What exactly happened in Marinur?
An accident in reactor number 3. Negligence. Faulty maintenance. What do I know? Anyway, one spark was all it took, and then total chaos. The rare survivors were brought back here to the Valsembor clinic.
So you and Hans decided to build an army of automatons to help all the people who were left behind still stuck in the rubble in Marinur.
Yeah. Hans thought that helping the town that had opened its arms to his amusement park was a duty. And we would have managed to do it in the end, too. If only that coward Obo hadn't left our automatons to rust because of his so-called lake monster. The evil monster of the lake. Stories to scare small children with, Miss Walker. Not an excuse for cowardice. Mein Gott.
Are you still angry at Captain Obo for abandoning your automatons?
Yeah. Hans and I put an awful lot of energy into making them all, you know. We thought of everything.
How so?
Our automatons were designed to tirelessly go through all the rubble, piece by piece, in search of survivors. Administer first aid, and then take them back to the beach so that they could be safely embarked on the crystal. But because of Obo, none of that ever happened.
How did you meet Hans Wahlberg?
I met dear Hans when he had just arrived here in Valsembor, 20 years ago.
What was he doing in the region?
Oh, he didn't seem to have any particular reason. Always traveling. He stopped off here and there, then left again when the feeling came.
Thank you for your help.
Impossible, I don't believe it. He forgot to leave it open again. Kirill! Kirill! When I get my hands on him, this time he's really going to get it. Impossible, I don't believe it. He forgot to leave it open again.
Welcome to our humble Valsembor funicular station, miss. I'm afraid you'll have to wait a bit before you can go up to the clinic. Traffic has been halted this morning, and now there's a rather progressive return to service.
When they shut the funicular down this morning, it created chaos. Regrettable delays due to traffic management, they said. Yeah, right.
I don't like that new waitress working in the tavern at all. What with her grandfather being an old friend of the nomads and the way she turns the customers' heads, there's no way Sarah Steiner can be anything but trouble, I'm sure. It's kicking off near the town hall. I hope it won't come down anywhere near here. That's absolutely the last thing we need.
No Yukols in Valsembor! The shopkeepers can't...
If you were only here to see this, Oscar.
The nomads are stealing our merchandise and our customers. The Yukols don't belong in Valsembor. The shopkeepers
You should have seen it back when the port was still open and booming. Never even heard of a strike.
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Isn't it obvious? We're demonstrating against having the Yukol nomads parked on our doorsteps.
But what for?
Since they came to Valsembor, there's been no end to the shoplifting and vandalism, and on top of that, their souk is taking our customers. Mayor Bulyakin has to do something, and fast. We're not leaving until he receives our delegation.
But why won't the mayor talk to you?
Because he's a schmuck. He wants the nomads to continue their migration as much as us, but he's too afraid of annoying his higher-ups. And while he's gaining time by playing both sides of the board, we're watching our sales go through the floor.
The authorities are asking the mayor to prevent the migration from continuing? They want the Yukols to stay blocked in Valsembor?
That's what people are saying, but if you want my opinion, the only thing the mayor is waiting for is someone to get rid of those savages without him having to get his hands dirty.
Everyone's been surly the last few months.
Go speak with young Sarah. She could help you.
The captain is just there, next to the fireplace.
Captain Obo?
What do you want?
May I sit down for a second?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry to impose, but I actually really...
You know, you kind of remind me of someone. The wife of the quartermaster that served on board the Crystal after the war. Do you realize he got married to the first cousin of the wife of a machinist?
Oh, okay. That's all really interesting, but what I wanted to ask...
That's a really great story, really. Because, did you know? So there. So the guy answers, I don't know nothing, Captain. Turns out he was hiding in the broom closet. Hilarious. Irina, the wife of the quartermaster, her name was Irina Malevna. Crazy how much you look like her.
Oh, gee. It's getting late. I have to go. You can finish telling me the story another time, Captain Obo.
Is everything okay, Kate?
Not really. I'd like to ask Captain Obo if the Yukol caravan can go on board his boat to cross over to Baranor. But I can't get a straight answer. He's completely sloshed.
I'm sorry, miss, but I really think you're wasting your time. He's getting drunk again to forget his crimes, like he always does. To forget he wasn't brave the way a captain should be. Can you believe it? In Baranor, he just picked up and abandoned his passengers. And I know, he'll never want to see that cursed place again.
I'm not sure that's true, lad. Even if he does drink a lot, the captain's a pretty good guy. Say the right thing, and you may be able to convince him.
If I'm ever lucky enough to find him sober, even for a moment, I need that drunkard to listen to me.
Maybe I can help you with that. I'll make him one of my famous small restoratives. After that, he'll want to sleep for 3 days, but at least his mind will be clear.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much, both of you.
Don't mention it. The way the Yukols are treated here is an absolute disgrace, so if we can help out...
Has Captain Obo taken the crystal out of port since leaving Baranor?
He's been far too drunk ever since then for that.
And anyway, the port's been closed since the tragedy of Baranor 20 years ago.
Do you think the crystal is still in sailing condition after all this time?
I'm sure there'll be a few repairs to do, but Obo never stopped keeping it in shape, you know. He loves his boat, despite everything.
Do you know why Captain Obo fled Baranor?
He must have been completely traumatized by what he saw there. The catastrophe, the victims, and then the radiation. He unloaded the automatons on the beach, but he didn't expect they'd bring the survivors back right then. He just cracked, completely snapped. Full astern and goodbye all. Can you even imagine?
Afterwards, he came up with that story of a sea monster appearing and attacking his boat.
Yes, the old legend of the monster of the lake. Convenient, isn't it?
Who knows what became of the victims and automatons the captain abandoned?
No, everybody hates the captain for that. But nobody volunteered to take the helm of the crystal in his place to pick up the survivors. If there are any left in Baranor. They're all dead now, that's for sure.
Grandfather says that the automatons would have broken down really quickly with nobody to maintain them.
Go see the captain. Sarah will bring you the restorative when it's ready.
Take this, Captain. This one's on the house.
My God! This pisswater unbattens the hatches, swabs the deck, and opens the portholes. Hello, miss.
My name is Kate Walker, Captain Obo. We met each other earlier.
To what do I owe the honor of your presence at the table of the regrettably famous Captain Obo?
I have to stop the captain from rambling on. I'm gonna have to be firm.
I'm listening, miss.
The captain seems rather depressed. It would probably be a good idea to go easy on him. This is good news, Captain. You're back at the starting block again. You have a new beginning, a new dawn.
Haha! Now that's a good show of spirit, Miss Walker. What'll you be having now? It's my round.
The captain knows he's despised in Valsembor. I'll tell him he can change all that.
So what? Nothing more to add, then?
Everybody here hates the captain. I need to try to make him feel better. I'd rather you listen to me. You're my only hope of finding a solution to my problem.
Do tell me about it, please, miss.
Because the Yukols and their ostriches are stuck here in Valsembor. It's causing a serious problem among the people in your community. Plus, the nomads have to continue their great journey. Only you, Captain Obo, can defuse the situation by taking them on board the crystal.
You're very wrong, Miss Walker. Everybody will tell you that I'm incapable of giving a hand to anyone.
Poor Captain. I think a little sympathy might do him some good.
Right. Go on. Ignore Obo, the gutlet.
I can't let him start feeling sorry for himself. I've got to shake him out of it. I should use what I read in the captain's log to convince him.
Why are you still here if you don't want to talk?
I took a look at your logbook, Captain. I read what you wrote when you fled Baranor.
So in that case, you know what I am, right? I'm damned and rotten to the core.
Let me tell you something, Captain. I know that you need to redeem yourself, and I just may be able to help you do that.
How in the hell?
Take the Yukols caravan to Baranor in the Crystal. The migration must go that way.
Baranor? That's impossible. You can't go to there anymore. Never again. Too much happened. Too many died. And also there, in the water, I saw the hellish red eyes of the monster of the lake. Beast as big and long as my boat. Ask your Yukol friends what they think about it. They call it the Kilak, the evil spirit of the lake. The devil guarding the doorway to hell.
Captain, I think it's time for you to clear your head of all these fanciful stories designed to scare people. Everywhere in the world where the water is deep, people have come up with legends designed to keep children safe. Come on, get up, Captain Obo. Show me what you're made of.
Miss Walker, first of all, I have to say that you're an incredibly stubborn woman. I'd even say that you're a real, Anyway, I'll stop there. But I get it.
And what am I to conclude from your appraisals?
All right. You can get your gang of little savages and board the Crystal. I'll take you.
Oh, thank you, Captain, really. With all my heart. And thank you on behalf of the Yukols.
Oh, but be careful now, Captain Girl. You're not there yet. There are 2 conditions, and they aren't negotiable. First, we stop by Narrodas. It's a little town just a bit south of Baranor. That will mean we avoid the most radioactive zones, but it won't actually take you too far off your path. And second, we also sail by day. I'm not going to finish up on the lake monster's plate. And it sleeps during the day. The beast is usually a bit of a night owl anyway.
I accept, Captain Obo.
In that case, all hands on deck now, sailor, because we've got work to do before we can hoist the anchor.
Come on, Kate. You hurry off and meet with the captain before he changes his mind. I'll go tell Grandfather to join you on board the Crystal with Kirk.
Thank you, Sarah.
I was sure the captain would end up by saying yes.
So you finally managed to convince old Obo. Good going.
All right, Captain. How are the preparations going?
There's quite a bit of work to do before we can hoist the anchor, Miss Kate.
Maybe I can help you out with something.
Well, the coal needs to be stocked up. As for myself, I'll look after getting the water tanks ready to be filled. Take this. It's the code you need for entering the hangar where the coal is kept. You actually need it to use the crane to load the coal onto the Crystal. Don't forget to open the storage hatchway first.
I'll take care of that, Captain.
We need to set sail as soon as possible, so better hurry up.
A folding chute. Covered with coal, too. Come on. Oh, gosh! I should be able to put this button onto something else.
Apparently you did a very good job loading all the coal, Kate. Right. Everything's ready, so we can start filling the water tank. Now we need to connect the water tower to the crystal, then climb up there to manually activate the water flow mechanism.
Let me guess, you're counting on me?
When you're finished, come and see me on board. There's still a lot to do before we're shipshape.